Are you good with cars?
Not really. I don't drive. Like I know how to drive, but I have a driver. Whenever I need to go somewhere, I'll either get an Uber.
Hmm.
I'm considering getting a full-time driver now. It just saves time. Like driving is such a waste of time where, you are like doing nothing productive. But if you have a driver, then you can use that time to like read a book or do something else. So
Do you
I'm
know how
thinking
to
of
drive?
getting a I know how to drive. I don't care about it. Like some people enjoy driving. For me, it's just a chore,
Are drivers
especially in
expensive?
traffic. Not really. They cost like $300 a month.
Hmm, not bad.
Yeah, so I'm planning on getting a car and a driver, and it would be like the mode of travel I use.
Hmm.
Lately, I've just been using Uber though.
Oh, okay. Do you also have a housemaid?
Yeah,
Hmm.
I have a cook, a cleaner, a bunch of stuff. I have VAs. The only thing missing is a driver at this point.
When I went to Bangladesh, we had a driver, and the driver was such a nice guy. And since me and my brother were visiting from overseas, he'd always try to show us the cool spots. He'd be like, "This is where people go to do X, Y, and Z." And I remember the driver always looking at our housemaid, like he was like giving them her the eye. I don't know how they spit game. He's a driver. I was like, "Hey, you wanna go for a ride?" I wonder how he spits game.
What do you mean, Spitz game?
Like flirts with her, because I was pretty sure that the driver had a crush on our housemaid.
Yeah, could be,
Did that ever happen to you, where a housemaid uh, and one of your other help started a relationship?
No, not yet. Never
Mm.
happened.
Did a housemaid ever steal from you?
Not yet. Luckily, that has not happened yet.
See,
I've heard of this happening to other people, but not to me.
see, this is a foreign concept for a lot of Americans. You don't have a housemaid unless you're ballin'.
In America, labor is really expensive, right?
Yeah, but I just recall in Bangladesh, most families, uncles, aunties, they all had a housemaid, and they became a part of the family. Are your
My
housemates like
housemaid
that?
has a housemaid. Like
Oh,
my
really?
housemaid has a housemaid. Everyone has a housemaid.
Do they stay with you guys, or do they come and do the service then leave?
It depends on how you hire them. You can hire them for the entire day if you want. You have to pay them way more.
Hmm.
Or you can hire them to like come and do what you want them to do and then leave. So earlier, let's say you could hire them to, because earlier I would hire them to just clean the utensils, clean the house, and then go away. But now I have the full time cook who does everything, cleans the house, cleans the utensils, cooks for me, and it makes life so much easier.
Are you guys cool? I mean, do you guys talk?
No, man, I don't care. My
Okay.
mother handles most of it. I don't care.
Okay, no, because when I was growing up, when I was in Bangladesh, we had a housekeeper named, we called him Bilal Bhaiya, and he was older than us, and he was sort of like our third brother. And even nowadays, when we go back to Bangladesh, he has his own family, his kids, and he looks after me and my brother. Like he gets so excited. He's like, "Oh, look how big you are now!" And so he is someone that we became cool with. He started off as a house person, but now he's more like a family member.
Yeah, that does happen, especially if the housemaid is also like babysitting your kid every once in a while.
Hmm.
But typically, people stay in their limitations
Hmm.
because you will tend to have to fire these people.
Man, I remember one time I went to Bangladesh, and our housekeeper's name was Kakoli. And she would always come up and she's like, Bhaiya, do you need something? Should I chop you pineapples or something like that? And I just felt weird asking the housekeeper to do anything. It's just because I'm used to washing my plates. I didn't like it. So one day, my trip to Bangladesh was wrapping up. I was supposed to leave next week. I'm like, you know what? Today I'm going to make her do something. I'm like, Kakuli. She's like, yes, Arman Bhaiya, how can I help you? I'm like, can you chop me some pineapples, please? And she did it. And it was just Such a cool feeling. It, it's just like me, like a split where I have the Western mindset and now the Eastern mindset, where asking your housekeeper to do something is a norm in the Eastern world, but my Western mindset is like, no, something about it just feels weird because I wasn't used to it for some time. But when she did it, I was like, man, I should have been asking for pineapples all along.
See, that's exactly what I'm telling you.
Yeah, it's
Hire a
like,
cook. It'll save you so much time.
well, that's one of the things that one of these entrepreneurs in the West, he's like, if you make X amount of money, you should be getting a cook immediately. And when he initially said that, a bunch of entrepreneurs were like, "What? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Who hires a cook when they can cook themselves?" And it's like,
Easterners.
huh?
Easterners.
Yeah, it's like if you have a cook, I mean, I just imagine how much time you spend. So your meal prep, they do it for you then.
They do the meal prep, cook the meal, bring it to me, wash the dishes.
Look at you, man. You're living like a king over there.
I'm telling you, everyone should move to India. If you're a Westerner and you have some money or some online income that you can like do from your house, move to India. Everything is ridiculously cheap. Life is amazing. You have all the facilities you have in the West here. The tax rates are lower. Everyone speaks English. Literally no reason to not live in India.
Did you have an article about misconceptions regarding India?
Yeah, a lot of them actually. I did a piece on that. Let me pull it up back.
What
I
were
kind
some
of
of the
forgot.
misconceptions?
I kind of forgot what I wrote. All of I published it like a couple of months ago, right? So I don't
Hmm.
remember all of it. Let me find it. Hmm. Yeah, the biggest misconception I would say is that they think India is a bunch of street shitters, like like everyone's shitting on the street. When in reality, India built like millions and millions of toilets in the last 5 6 years. No one shits on the street anymore, like no one. And it's just like they think India is still in the 1990s or like 1970s, 80s, but it's a flourishing economy and we don't have the problems that they think we have, at least not nearly at the same intensity. And the other myth is that India has a lot of rapists. But when you actually look at real statistics, the rape rate in India is like 1.8 for every 100,000 people. In the US, it's about 27. So it's just Western media kind of making India look like crap when it's really not. Indian people are really peaceful, crime is low, and you don't have to worry about much, especially things like rape. Like the rape rate is literally 1.8 per 100,000 people, versus in the US, it's like 27.31, 27.29 in the UK. I don't know how much it's in the Vatican City, but like, I'm not even going to try and estimate that.
Hmm.
So the point is that India is really, really safe. And it makes zero sense for people to think that it's not. And yeah, it's the third biggest economy in the world. The literacy rate is improving every year. Like in 1961, like 50, 60 years ago, only like 28% of people could read and write. And now 75% or more can. And most uneducated people are like very old people, like who are old, even like who are like 60, 70 years or elder, who haven't had the chance to go to school. So essentially, India is doing really, really well. And the biggest misconception is that it's a shithole where everyone's sitting on the street and raping each other, and everyone's illiterate, and people travel on elephants and shit like that. So that's not true.
I never knew what the elephant one. Do you know how a lot of digital nomads, they'll go to a place in Europe or a place in South America? Do you guys get digital nomads?
Not so many, unfortunately, not yet. But I
Mhm.
hope more people will find India. It's a beautiful country. It's cheap. I'm telling you, it's the best place to be. Everyone speaks English. You have all the facilities you have in the West, like theaters, you have police, you have, all the goods you can buy there, you can buy here. The living conditions in cities are pretty much the same. And it's cheaper. You save so much money, the tax rates are much lower. You can hire all these help, right? You can hire a cook, a maid, etc., and live like a king. So
I'm sure
it,
that's going to sell a lot of people
yeah,
because
it's a great place to be.
the idea of you having a maid, a cook, and how much did you a driver, and it's, let's say, $1,000 a month, a little bit more. That's not bad at all.
What, $1,000 for what?
A maid, a cook, and a driver. Because you said a driver was 300. What about the other two? A maid and a cook.
You could get a full-time maid for $200. So a full-time maid and a cook, like for 300 bucks, 200
Bro,
bucks, yeah.
bro, if you're trying to recruit more people to India, you need to hype that up more because a lot of that doesn't even exist as a possibility for a lot of Americans, where a lot of Americans can afford that, but they don't think about that, where they're just used to cooking themselves, cleaning themselves. But you could hire someone, that is your marketing tool right there.
Man, you guys need to check out India. It's amazing.
Wait, if I were you, man, I'd be keeping it hush hush, like no one else coming.
Yeah, like India is the worst place to be. Don't come here, right?
It's like the thing with Florida. So many people are moving to Florida now. I'm like, no, no, you guys go back, man. You guys leave us here. Because Florida, I mean, it has great weather and it has this entrepreneurship community. I saw Fateh post up this unique tweet. It's an excerpt from a book, and you could tell me how true this is. You know Fateh Sharnu, right?
Yeah, I know him. I've spoken to him actually. Good guy.
Good guy, yeah. Indians love gold, real estate, and bank FDs. Americans love businesses. Indians look for jobs. Americans create jobs. Indians prefer safety and security. Americans prefer risk and entrepreneurship. India is poor. America is rich. The business culture is what we need to import from America, not their burgers and cokes. Either we start businesses or invest in businesses. Would you say nowadays India's entrepreneurship economy is growing?
It's growing, and it's growing really, really fast, and it's growing a lot. A lot of unicorns are from India now. And earlier, entrepreneurship was just not a part of the culture. People would want a safe job, but nowadays, more and more people want to be entrepreneurs. And this is an amazing thing.
You're
So yeah, we
pioneering a
are.
way, man.
Yeah, it is getting better. Like earlier, it was much worse, but now it's much better. The thing is that when your country is really poor, you don't have. I would say the culture becomes so safety seeking that you are not taught to be an entrepreneur. But now that we are getting some money, people have some money to risk, and they have bigger dreams and goals than just filling their stomach. And that's kind of why that we're seeing more entrepreneurship.
I'm not gonna lie, man. You have a lot of influence in India, and I believe LifeMathMoney brand can be one of those brands that changes things up and introduces more of an entrepreneurship community here.
I hope so, man. That is part of the goal.
Absolutely.